page 14. We are still on this volume 17 on 8A. Chapter 8 is on consciousness. There's a lot to talk about consciousness, a very interesting topic. And today is the second part. Last week, the last lesson, we spoke a bit about consciousness, vijnana. So let's have a quick look at some of the terms which are relevant for today. I've written three words on the board which are very important for us today. We have vijnana, consciousness; sanya, perception; panya, wisdom. I've mentioned many times before, when we study early Buddhism, we must be aware that most, if not all, the terms there are used in a non-technical sense, non-TT, as we would say in scholarly tradition, scholarly technicalese, non-TT, non-technical terms. In other words, you've got to see the context. Of course, I'm not saying Buddha uses words really without system. The words are systematic. It's just that this is describing the nature of the mind. And it's describing the nature of the mind to neophytes, to new people, to the lay person. So, we need not be troubled by the fact that we say, oh, this word has only one meaning. This may happen in Abhidhamma, but not in the suttas. But once you know the context, you also know the meaning, and you begin to understand why you cannot really tie down the words, make it a technical term of the words. Of course, once you start defining the words, you start talking about, like we are talking about consciousness today, you might say, effectively it becomes a technical term. That's fine, really. But that's because of the way we are talking about the term today. But if you look at the sutta itself, you must be open-minded, basically. Why do I say that? Take, for example, these two words, sanya, vijnana, sometimes they are used interchangeably. For example, there is the highest realm below nirvana, didn't go in Buddha's time, nema sanyana sanyayatana. The word sanya is used there. But sanya in that context means consciousness. Right? So these are the things you must be aware of. Look at the context. Right? And then sometimes the Buddha would use the word vijnana twice in the same sentence or paragraph. So there are two meanings of consciousness in this case, two different meanings. So here again we look at all these interesting problems today. Today I'm trying to cover 20 pages of this text if possible, so that we get a very nice overview, and then anything extra you can go back and read it. Now, my reason for writing this series on the board is to show you how these three words are connected. Actually, there's a whole list of words with the root janya. Janya meaning to know. Okay? So where is the janya here? It's over here. Nya. Okay? Nya. Here, nya. This is Sanskrit, by the way. So you can see here how the janya is there. The J is here. So, I mean, for those of you who love details, for example, this vijnana in Sanskrit is spelled like this. Vijnana, so the root is clear there. Right? So, vijnana, this is the verb. Okay, this is the noun, consciousness. The verb to be conscious is vijanati. But it's not simple as that, because we don't normally translate vijanati as meaning to be conscious. Well, you can if you want, but you've got to be aware of the deeper meaning of the term, broader meaning of the term. Notice what is the common verb here. Janati, janati, janati. Can you see the janati there? Yeah? So these are the prefixes. San, S-A-N with a dot, and here's pa. So all these prefixes are very important in Pali. As in English, you have all these prefixes also, prepositions especially. For example, in English, you use the word run. Run on, run in, run under, run over, and then modify the meaning of the basic verb run. So here, same thing, you have this basic verb here, it's been modified by all these prefixes. So we here use an idea of analysis, like in English, dis, as in discern, and sometimes by and bicep, for example. So here so it belongs to the same family of languages. Vijanati means to know in parts, analytically. This is how the five senses function. So Vijanati refers especially to how our five senses sense things, how we are conscious of things. Once having said that, you understand that, yes, you can say we are conscious of something, Vijanati, right? So it's not quite simple. And also because in Buddhism we're able to explain things in this way, we can understand the psychology of the human mind more clearly because we have a very clear and systematic way of describing actions of the mind and the senses. Right? Now, what about this one? Sanya. Sanya means perception. There are many other translations like a perception and discernment, things like that. But we are so used to perception, why not stay with this? Right? The proper translation is one can say, so you've got to stick to one word. I used to think like that, but I realized that it's not easy to stick to one word because one big exact word, but there's no such thing as an exact translation. In Italian language, there's the saying, traduttore, traduttore. The translator is a traitor, like one word. In other words, when you translate something, you change the meaning. Just like when this poet, translator, who say a Persian word into English, Edward Fitzgerald translated this Omakaya, it became a new work. It's a very beautiful poem, but it's a totally new work, different from the Omakaya written by the original Persian writer. So the problem now is, we have to be careful not to do that in the sutras. When we translate the sutras, we try to preserve the essence, the spirit of the Dharma. We can change the letter of the sutra, but we must preserve the spirit of the Dharma. Artha, A-T-H-A, or in Sanskrit, Artha. There's a feminine version, Arti, and Malay, Arti means meaning. So that's how the words begin to pervade in Southeast Asian languages. So Sanya, perception, which is quite understandable as long as we must define these terms in our usage in Buddhist studies. Doesn't mean that we must follow the dictionaries. Always remember that the dictionaries don't define us, we define the dictionary. We use words, the lexicologists, lexicographers study how words are used and then they add on those meanings to the dictionaries. Of course, as children, we definitely learn the dictionary. But as we become more mature in writing and thinking, we create new words, new ideas. We use the same words giving new meanings. This is what I normally experiment in my reflections. I call it prose poetry because I use words to try to free meaning from the words. So Sanya, you have the sun as an M with the dot away, or in English you have com, meaning together, put it together. And then you have the idea of S-Y-N in Greek. Syn or sign, meaning to bring together, synthetic, for example, synthesize. Okay? And Janati. So here's where the knowing is synthetical, it brings things together. And this very well describes Sanya, because Sanya perception is where you bring back data from the past, information from the past, and then you recognize something now. Okay? So if you translate this as cognize, this would be recognize, cognize, recognize. Then you have anya, wisdom. Janati again, the strengthening I in front. So here, to know more deeply. Right? So it means wisdom in this case. So these are three basic words which we must be aware of. Oh yes, there's one more which I love. It's very simple. In other words, the shortest form version of this word is called anya. I don't think it is found in the Sanskrit tradition, although the Sanskrit word is anya. Right? Anya is specifically refers to the wisdom of the arhat. Anya. Okay? So Anya simply means realization of the arhat. Like when Kundanya realized the truth during the teaching of the first discourse, the Buddha calls it Anya Kundanya. Kundanya was to realize the truth. Yeah? So Anya also can translate like realization. So Vijnana refers to our consciousness. Let's begin with that. So we are on page 14 now. So this consciousness, of course, one thing we must know is impermanent. It changes. That's how we know things. When you look at me now, the light and the space around you, there is this medium, and so light from my face, or other light from there, touches my face and then it's reflected to your eyes. And then you know what human beings look like. I mean, if you get a bee or a cat or an elephant sitting there, this elephant wouldn't know it's a man. I don't know what the elephant would think. But we have all that understanding and perception. Okay, so we have that kind of human consciousness. And this consciousness is also closely related to latent tendencies, anusaya. Latent tendencies refers to our habitual karma, which are deep inside us, controlling almost all our actions, our likes and dislikes especially. So how we see things through our five senses very deeply is influenced by our latent tendencies. Essentially, they are lust, aversion, and ignorance. Right? So that's the first time we see something we don't know what it is. So we start trying to relate it with something we know through our latent tendencies. Usually the term latent tendency is used in a negative sense of our action. We tend to act in a negative way, we think of the sense because of the latent tendencies. But as long as we understand and accept the nature of impermanence, then we are set on the right course. We are less likely to be cheated by these latent tendencies of lust, aversion, and ignorance. In other words, whatever you look at, you say it's impermanent, then you're not drawn, you're not attracted to it. And you also won't, I mean, it's beautiful, it's something attractive, you're not drawn to it unreasonably. You learn to let go. If something is painful or negative, you won't hate it, you just say, well, it's impermanent. And if something is, you can't decide whether it's good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant, you say, okay, it's impermanent, I don't know what it is, but it's impermanent, so it doesn't trouble. So, when we talk about consciousness, you might say, it never exists by itself. Its consciousness is a way of talking about our mind. This is part of the five aggregates. You remember this, our study is part of the five aggregates, right? The five aggregates are form, that is the body, physical aspects of our being, and then you've got feeling, perception, formation, consciousness. These are the four mental aspects of our being. So consciousness functions integrally with this other non-physical aspect of the five aggregates. Feeling, perception, formation, work together, right? So in other words, all these things work together. You cannot separate them. So all these five aggregates, the way we talk about consciousness is just theoretically, it's a way of looking at something, but you cannot separate it. The consciousness doesn't happen by itself. If I'm conscious, I must be conscious of something. There's no such thing as just consciousness of it. This idea did arise later on after the Buddha, to the influence of Hinduism and Mahayana and other teachings. Slowly this idea of a kind of consciousness existing by itself became somehow popular or was present somehow in some of the teachings, right, that directly implied. There's a danger here because once you have this concept, it's very little different from the idea of the unchanging soul. So this is where the idea of impermanence is very important for us to remember. Everything is changing, very much like quantum physics, if you like. So this consciousness has got a couple of houses, if you like. Next, if you look at 5.2.1, there's a sutta, the Kali Sutta. This is a very interesting excerpt. I'm going to read through the excerpt, bottom of page 14. The form element house lord is the house of consciousness. One whose consciousness is bound by lust for the form element is called one who wanders about frequenting houses. So here you see there's a play on the word house. You have two meanings. House as a domicile, a place we live in, which we renounce as monks and nuns. That is a ritual renunciation, not the real renunciation. Right? People today they can renounce their home, but you get a bigger home. Or they might be, become a professional lecturer earning money, for example, but they wear robes. So they're not really renounce. The real renunciation is that their minds are free. They renounce views, renounce attachment to the world. That's the real higher meaning of renunciation. So, form here is the house of consciousness. No form, no consciousness. You don't have consciousness, you won't be aware of form. You won't be aware of your body. For example, I have consciousness, so I'm aware, okay, here I am sitting, I can feel the hardness of the chair, something like that. Then feeling element, same thing, is the house of consciousness. Because I'm conscious, so I feel pleasant feeling, neutral feeling. Or rather, I feel something which I interpret as pleasant, so I like it. I interpret something as painful, so I like it. And how do I decide this? Perception element. From my past experience, then I superimpose the past experience because I say, oh, in the past, this thing was nice. When I experienced this nice, therefore this present situation should also be like that. So it's a kind of conclusion we make, recognition, this perception element. And then next one is the formations element. We put value into it. We either like it or don't care about it. In other words, greed-hate delusion is activated. Once greed-hate delusion is activated, in other words, you show greed-hate delusion towards this experience, karma is created. So formation means karma is formed, sometimes considered as karma formations. The word element here simply is just a word, something like one thing. So it's just to show it's something to talk about, element in a general sense. You can replace this with the word aggregate, right? This refers to the four, the five aggregates. So this is so the Buddha says that anyone who is attached to these aggregates is called someone who wanders about frequenting houses. In other words, they're attached to this, the mental processes, the body, and so on. So in simple terms, you can say to be a Buddhist, therefore, is to understand that we are full of views. We have views. Of course, we can't help having views. Views can be helpful, but like food, you have to eat the food for the food to be helpful and healthy to you. And after you have eaten the food, the best parts get digested, and then you throw the rest away. Views are also like that. If you hold on to views, you will never get enlightened. You have to let go of views. Ultimately, you have no more views. Then you are awakened, so to speak. But this is easier said than done. But then, if you really look at if you look at ourselves, all our lives, that's what we really have been doing. We like it or not, we actually keep renouncing our views. Just look at ourselves. Say, when you're very young, we have certain set of views. Right? We thought our kampong is the biggest place in the world, and then you go to the next capital city, wow, it's a big country. And then you go overseas, it's another experience. So your vision, your understanding of the world begins to change. And then when you go to college, go to university, your perception of the world also changes. Young people, they become adolescents, they become adults, the views of life change. And people have so many views. In my 40 years of studying Buddhism, I've changed so many of my views of Buddhism. because they don't serve a purpose anymore, they're meaningless, they're not very useful, they're wrong. Once I realized that, I said, I don't need this anymore. And I'm so happy I didn't let it go. Because there are better views. In the end, no use. Then you're free like a Buddha. And it's a natural process of personal development. And this is very often I try to reflect this in my reflections. And sometimes it's very difficult to please everybody because not everybody think like me. That's understandable. And sometimes when we say the nicest thing, people think people don't like it. Because either they say, oh, he thinks it's cleverer than I am, and so on. Some people will say, oh yeah, he's insulting me, Of course, words can be very beautiful, and sometimes we just can't help putting things so beautifully together, which express the nature of the human mind. So clearly, it's not that we are insulting anybody, but if we are willing to look at our present way of thinking, that it needs improvement, and it's wonderful. So this is where Buddhism can bring beauty and truth to us, to the nature, to learning to let go of views, right? So, being aware of our mind means we are aware that this mind is dynamic, it's changing all the time. These five senses perceive the world around us, it creates the world around us. At the same time, we make sense of this world also. And the wiser we are, the more sense we make of this world. Until ultimately, we make no sense of the world. This sounds Zen-like. I can tell you Zen is the last thing that makes sense of anything. I mean, if you are a real sensible Zen person, you won't talk anything. The problem nowadays, Zen people talk a lot. So it's not Zen anymore. So that's another big issue. So the idea is to let go, basically. And not to let go, then really you can experience the world as it is. It's just like watching a sunset, If you give a running commentary on a sunset, you're not enjoying it at all. You just have to be there silently, And the sunset is not a cosmological phenomenon. The sunset is a personal experience of beauty. The sun is setting, you watch it, you create the sunset. Your relationship with nature is very beautiful, and that's beauty. The ability to be one with what's going on in front of you, so to speak. So you have the mind, and you have these things that make your experience clear to you. It's like you have this computer, motherboard, and then you have these other components that make it work. So you have the mind and mental factors. So this is the next part, 5.2. So consciousness is the main thing, and there are other aspects which work together, like the other three, aggregates. They work together with consciousness. The Abhidhamma go into more detail about this terminology, chitta, cetasika, whereas in the suttas we don't deal so much with that. You can see the terms in section 5.2.2. 5.2.2. In other words, of the four mental components of the five aggregates, it is vijnana or chitta or mano, here they are synonyms, that stands out as the fundamental factor. In this case, chitta or mind serves as the key term. The other three, vedana means feeling, sanya, perception, and sankhara, formation, are called cetasika, pertaining to the chitta, to the mind, or mental factors, or mental concomitants of the mind. So here begins the Abhidhamma tradition. They talk more detail, technology in technical terms, the mind and the mental factors. So in a sense, if you understand Abhidhamma, it should help you to understand suttas. If it makes it more difficult to understand suttas, better don't study Abhidhamma. But the purpose is to make the sutta easier to understand. Then the next word is body, kaya, 5.3. Again, as I told you, when you study the Buddhist types of suttas, keep your mind open. Usually no technical terms. For example, you see the word kaya. Don't jump to the conclusion, oh, kaya still means body. Yeah, you're correct, you say body, but what kind of body? If I say my body, and I say the university student body, they mean different things. Same word. My body is my physical breathing body, but the student body is a union. It's a collective term, and this is used in the Buddhist texts also. You have kaya as a collective term, so all the five aggregates work together as a kaya. And there is this body, rupa kaya. So you must be aware of the words I use also. So there is the whole body. If I say my whole body here, because of the five aggregates, so kaya refers to everything, all the five aggregates. Whereas if I talk about my physical body, also kaya has the four elements. So you've got to see the context here. I mean, it's nothing difficult here at all, nothing problematic. It's just like in English we say the word body. So simple as that. So once you think like that, by analogy, by what's so difficult to understand in this class? But there are problems when we think in terms of things which are named, form, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness. For example, people may ask, where is this consciousness? What happened to the consciousness after death? Or better still, what is reborn when the person dies? Is this thing that is reborn the same, whatever consciousness you call it so? So there was one monk who thought it's the same consciousness that persists all the time. The Buddha said, I never thought such a thing. Because consciousness doesn't persist even for a moment. It's changing all the time, like electric impulse. So if you are not trained in the suttas and you somehow do not accept the idea of the teaching of the permanence, you may think, oh, there must be this something eternal, some mystical, amorphous idea of something permanent, this kind of unchanging consciousness. The simplest wrong idea here would be the Sakkaya Ditthi. Sakkaya Ditthi. So what kaya is that? Sakkaya Ditthi simply translates as the idea that this body is something permanent, or this body is mine. Sometimes this word Sakkaya Ditthi translates as the view of self-identity, or self-identity view, that I am this body. So if you go to someone and who will say his body is held by smoking, you tell her you better stop smoking, because it's bad for your health. And this person tells you, why should you bother? This is my body, so I do what I like with it. Well, that is a false statement, because the body doesn't belong to you. You can read the Anatta Lakkhana Sutta. So you can ask the person, have you heard of Anatta Lakkhana Sutta? Such a fantastic name. People will say, what's that? You can explain to them Anatta Lakkhana Sutta. Anatta Lakkhana Sutta says, your body, I'm paraphrasing it, you can't tell your body, don't get sick. Can you tell your body, don't grow old? Can you tell your body, stay beautiful? Can you tell your muscles, oh, stay like this? Or tell your hair, don't become gray? We can't. Although it's in my body, this body doesn't always listen to us. So it shows that we don't own this body. We're just using this body in a certain sense. Our consciousness is inhabiting this body. We do have some control, but not full control. So this is the idea of non-self. This is not really our self. We have no control. That is one reflection. So here, Sakkaya Ditthi reminds us that this body is impermanent. We have no real control over it. So as such, it is suffering, we suffer pain. So there is no self. Now if you understand it that way, then this body is not too bad. You accept it as it is. It's just like having two adolescent kids, You tell yourself, okay, these kids, they got their own mind. I can't be controlling them all the time. As a father, I can't be telling them all the time what to do. They have to learn to think for themselves. They grow up, they can be independent. Something they apply to it so far. Okay? So it applies to us and our body, so to speak. Now, when we look in this way, then we begin to ask ourselves, I say, then what about this self? I say, I am doing this, myself. But these are just conventional terms we use so that we can communicate intelligently, effectively with others. But there's nothing changing there. The moment I say, I did this, the I will be gone. You know that everything that you experience, as I talk now, whatever you experience all in the past, it took a few microseconds to reach you. By the time it reaches you, it's gone. Everything is in the past. And if you're not attentive, that's worse. You won't hear anything, right? So you really focus. And the more focused you are, that window of absence, or window of the past, if you like, comes closer. So you are nearer the truth. Right? So it's like meditation, we watch the breath, to train our minds to be present. And that's the best present you can give yourself, by being present, by being aware of the present universe. So we're talking about this consciousness right here. Right? Now we can again look at different aspects of this consciousness. So I've drawn a diagram on page 17 here. So here we see a broader view of consciousness. We have the conscious mind, conscious body. Right? So when we say consciousness, we are referring to the activity, the sensing of the 5 physical senses, including the mind. It's the mind that, in a sense, gives consciousness to the other 5 senses, if you like. Another interesting point you must remember is that in Buddhism, we rarely talk of organs because we are not a biological tradition. The Buddha talks of faculties rather than organs. Let me jump a bit and show you page 23. Now remind me where I left off. We've got to come back to this, the cloud diagram. Just remind me. So you see, table 7.2, you have in the first column, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. You have the 5 senses, physical senses plus the mind. Now, if you look at the first 3, eye, ear, and nose, you have 3 different words for as an organ in Pali. Eye is aki, refers to the eye as an organ, like a ball. But the aki is rarely used. We almost never use aki when we talk about in the sutras. We use the word chakku, meaning the functioning eye, or better translated as eye faculty. Then the ear has got the word for itself, kanna. Usually, in fact, when you say kanna, we're talking about this, in Latin, I think stopina, this outer ear. So the usual use is sota, meaning the functioning ear, the faculty. The nose, again, notice there is this Pali word nasa. Where do we get English word nose, by the way, and the Latin nasal. Nasa is this physical nose. Right? And again, that is something really referred to in the sutras. The sutta would use ghana, nose faculty, smelling faculty. The others are the same words. Tongue is juha, body is kaya, mind is mana. Okay? So it's good to be aware of this. So where the Buddha also talks of the conscious body, savinyanaka kaya. So let's go back to the cloud diagram now, on page 17. If you don't have this book, let me just show you the screen. This is the cloud diagram. Oops, there enough. Now this cloud diagram is very interesting to update some terminology that can help us to understand the nature of consciousness according to Buddhism. This diagram goes with the iceberg diagram which I have elsewhere. The conscious body, look at the under Vijnana, conscious body. This diagram to explain 2 terms, existential consciousness and cognitive consciousness. Let me talk about these 2 terms first and then I go to the diagram. Cognitive consciousness refers to the activity of your 5 senses, how you cognize things. For example, now you're sitting there listening to me, you have cognitive consciousness, the activity of your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. Of course, the less activity of your tongue because you're not eating anything. More of your ear and your eyes. Right? That's your cognitive consciousness is working now. But what keeps us going, life to life, give us a life, is called existential consciousness. These are modern terminology that try to explain in modern terms the nature and workings of vijnana. In the suttas, the word vijnana is used all the same. So sometimes the person will ask, how come this sutta here, within one paragraph, vijnana applied in this, let me show you an example in the 12 links. Vijnana is used twice. And so look at page 20, there's one example there. Vijnana goes to Nama Rupa and then goes back to Vijnana. So you have, it goes in a loop. That's one example. So here is where, in certain contexts, you see the Vijnana refers to the present process in this life, how the senses work for you, how you see things, hear things, smell things, and so on. Cognitive consciousness. Then, when you are sleeping, deep sleep, no dreams, your life continuum is still there. We are not dead. We wake up, and then we continue our activities. So that life continuum is existential consciousness. It gives us our existence. It keeps us alive. Life continuum. There are many other terms for this. For example, the Abhidhamma uses the word bhavanga, from which we get the English translation, life continuum. The other Pali terms are, from this life, we call it chuti chitta, death consciousness. From the new life, when baby is born, we say patisandhi chitta, rebirth consciousness. Of course, if you talk about immediate rebirth, then of course they are the same thought moments. Right? So these are some technical terms. Huh? So look at existential consciousness in the diagram. Figure 6.1, you can see bottom circle, is the conscious, brackets, existential consciousness, that's your body, the 5 physical senses. You get the idea now? Okay, clear enough, huh? Any questions? And then at the top, you have pre-conscious. Okay, pre-conscious is that the mind, you're aware of things, but you don't tell people. Unless you're very close to them, you're capable of very clear expression. But usually we don't tell people what we think. And then we act, we say something, we do something. You know? So there's this pre-conscious. You're aware of it, but you don't tell people. Alright? That's the pre-conscious. And how we act in this way is, of course, influenced by greed, hatred, illusion that we have. Level of greed, hatred, or illusion. Why in the suttas the Buddha talks of greed, hatred, illusions? Because we, as unawakened beings, we all have certain levels of these three roots. And we act accordingly. Of course, sometimes it's not too bad. For example, you just love coming for Sutta class, so it's a kind of greed, but it brings you some pain having to sit here for 2 hours and so on. But the benefits are okay, in a sense. It is negative in the sense that we're not enlightened, so that liking is still a worldly thing. Maybe we can't go if it's so bad at our age, you know? Or maybe we hear a lousy talk or study, we say, oh, I don't feel happy about this. But all these are our own definitions. Right? But if you are saying, it doesn't matter whether you hear the sutta or not, you're happy. So, as a worldly person, we act like that. But when you're aware of it, then it becomes positive. It becomes wholesome. So this is the pre-conscious mind, where you act according to your latent tendencies, your karma, and then you what should I say, express yourself publicly. You're not saying everything, but enough to express yourself to others. Then you see in the center, there are 2 more terms. You have the subconscious. Can you see the word subconscious there? Gandharva. You want to read about Gandharva, you go to SD 2.17 and so on, which is reverse consciousness. Gandharva is another term used for Bhavanga and so on. Reverse consciousness, and that is the subconscious. So one way of talking is, the subconscious is what is reborn. And the subconscious, in a sense, is also the same as the unconscious, the latent tendencies. Last, aversion, ignorance. The unconscious is useful, the word is useful because we can use it to explain certain behavior that we have. this is a very important term. In fact, we'll be studying this separately all by itself, unconscious, in 2 lessons from this lesson. Many of the things we think and do, we're not aware of them. And why so? This is 2 more lessons from today, from this lesson. So you have 3 words there: Chitta, Mano, Vijnana. Vijnana is the body, it is the lower diagram, lower circle. And then Mano is the mind in the middle, which is reborn. You don't really have much control of it. And then Chitta, which is translated as thought or meditation, your pre-conscious. This you can control. For example, before you pack, you say, I better don't do this. Well, I must skip the precepts, right? So the pre-conscious mind, you can train it. You can say, let me improve myself, right? So that is Chitta. So you can see the 3 terms put in a hierarchy there in relation to the circles, right? So I hope this diagram makes sense to you. Question?
Mano, you said, the Mano, does it refer to the elliptical form or the small circle?
The small circle. The elliptical form, the eye shape around it is mind consciousness. Mind consciousness. Okay, so that mind consciousness.
Oh, right.
Okay. Any other question? Yes?
You essentially following the modern psychology.
No. Yeah. That's why when you use such terms, one way to be safe is to clearly state this has nothing to do with psychodynamics. Because there are people who have learned psychodynamics and come and start talking and you really can ask. Because we are talking on different premises. We have a big problem when you talk from different premises.
So actually there's something called Alaya.
Alaya, yes, correct.
So is it included in
Yeah, you can say alaya is latent tendencies, if you like. Yeah, because got all this plus other things. But again, you have to be very careful because this alaya consciousness and this what you call from the Abhidhamma Kosha, so they have their own very deep philosophy. So it's a very developed kind of psychology.
So we do not deny the existence of alaya consciousness.
Well, I wouldn't say we agree or disagree. It's a different way of talking. It's a different paradigm, different operating system. So it's best not to, because this is a very simple, early way of describing the mind. Whereas in the Ala Vijnana, they were trying to explain where is karma stored. Okay? All right, so, yeah.
Something that was is it correct to say that Mano, the mind, and Vijnana, the consciousness, in one sense they are interdependent, and in another sense they're independent?
Oh yeah, sure, exactly.
Independent meaning, let's say the mind is an organ, maybe it's a brain. I don't know, the mind we can
Yeah,
say
in Buddhism we don't equate it, but it's a common modern scientific idea.
I mean, to have the mind, you need the brain. Without the brain, there's no mind.
No, not necessarily.
That's not true, is it?
This is one of the big controversy today. The materialist scientists, those who follow the classical way of thinking, they say the mind is the source of consciousness. But in Buddhism, we don't agree with that.
The mind is the source of consciousness.
The brain is the source of consciousness, according to the material scientists. But in Buddhism, we don't say that. We say that consciousness can be anything. Okay?
Can you have consciousness without the brain?
Without the brain, possible. In fact, for example, you see, the suttas, the mind is never located anywhere. The Buddha never said where the mind is located. For example, seeing, the activity is in the eye, hearing activity is in the ear, and so on, all the 5 senses. But thinking, the Buddha never located anywhere. So this is the Abhidhammis problem. They say, where is it? How come Buddha never located it? So they say all the 5 have locations, but number 6 doesn't have, and they're not too happy with this. So the Abhidhamma likes things to be exact and scientific and so on. So they decided that the mind should be located in the heart, not the brain, but the heart, the center of our being. It is a common belief. in Buddha's time. Okay, so it's not okay.
So in Buddhism, the mind is not the same as consciousness. They are two different things.
They're the same, or the consciousness is part of what we see as mind. But you can see the whole thing, if you like, you see the whole, what is diagram as a whole is the mind diagram. But then you got three different aspects of this. So that's why the Buddha uses three different words. Sometimes the Buddha says the mind. For example, if I generally speak, I say the mind. But you want to be more exact, how you experience things, then I'll say consciousness. So it depends on the context. Right?
There is a concept that there exists a cosmotic consciousness and we just out.
Oh, that is a Brahmanical idea,
Yeah.
which Buddhists don't accept. However, people like this, Alan Wallace give up some very interesting ideas. He is trying to explain something like what happened to the Buddha's consciousness when he has got enlightenment, you know? So he's trying to say like, see this whole universe made out of atoms, you know? So it's like his consciousness has come back to all the atoms, you know? But he's not saying that there is this ultimate consciousness. He's just saying it's just dispersed, that's all, there's more there. And that's as far as language can go. More than that is speculative.
Actually, I have the same question. For Buddha, right?
Right.
When we become Buddha, so
Awakening, what happens? Oh yeah, I'm not enlightened. We can only guess. So here again, we have the famous analogy of the lamp or the fire. You know? Then you imagine there's a fire there, and then you blow out the fire. Where has it gone? It has gone nowhere. Your anger, you were angry before, and then you realize, you'll be angry about everything's okay, and where's it gone? Where has it gone? Nowhere. Wrong language, wrong words. It just ceased to be. So if you reflect in that way, you extend this idea of this thing disappearing, ceasing, as something ongoing. This arahat will never get angry. That's nirvana. That's how you can reflect. You use nirvana as an object, so to speak. More than that, you got to be. It's just like I'm here telling you about London. You know, you've never been there. No matter what I say, you still won't experience the real thing. I mean, you can have the most fantastic imagination and response to it, but when you go there, the feeling is different.
but what is he doing?
So, where is he now?
What is he doing?
What is
What is Buddha doing?
Well, again, here the Buddha will say the question is only put. I think this particular aspect is easier to talk to a class of quantum physicists because they tell you the question only put. Where is the atom? Somebody will say, oh, can't answer. You get the idea, we'll talk about this. You can't really describe the real location of the electron or atom. That's called a time shifting moving. Something like that. So there are certain things you cannot put into language. This is what the God builders try to do. They use the God idea and they talk about it, and also got a lot of trouble.
Right.
So we can't. Nirvana, you can't. It's a personal, so-called personal experience within the class. Actually, there's no person to experience it. You know? That's something I try to talk to myself.
So in rebirth, to be accurate, it is the consciousness that passes on.
Yeah, we
Not
can.
necessarily anything to do with it.
Yeah, in a sense, you can say that consciousness is reborn. Of course, broadly speaking, you can say the mind is reborn also if you like. If you understand the mind to be mano, consciousness, because according to the diagram, it is the mano which is reborn here. But so usually we try not to use any word for the mind. We will say bhavanga or rebirth consciousness, something like that. Okay. All right. So cognitive consciousness is this life consciousness. What's going on now? Okay. It's a kind of, we call it synchronic moment-to-moment awareness. Okay, this is a 611. Right? And then the other one is existential consciousness. Is you can take it like over many lives, electronic, over many lives. Okay? This is 612. This is in more detail. Alright, so in simple terms, existential consciousness has to do with rebirth, existence. Cognitive has to do with your present awareness of what's going on in front of you. So existential consciousness talks about many lives. This is the consciousness that go through life after life after life. Something like karmic gene, if you like. karmic gene. So here again, we are reminded, having said this, the Buddha reminds us not to think of this is mine, I am this, because once you start saying I am this, you own this, then suffering arises. Why? For example, if you have done something wrong, again here, wrong is how you define it. And you say, I have done something wrong, and you feel very bad about it. You get anxiety, fear, anger, whatever. It's because you use the word I, me, mine to identify with it. Once you identify with it, you have opinions, and what happens up there doesn't coincide with your opinion, then you say, oh, I don't like it. Right? So then you get upset because of owning the pain, as you call it. So this is where in Buddhist psychology we say don't own the pain. Because everything is passing, everything is changing. So just allow these things to pass and you find things will change. And then watch the change, watch for patterns and act accordingly. Then you'll be alright. So this is the healing aspect of this. We use this in counseling. That's why Buddhism is a very powerful system of therapy and counseling, because we taught not to own the pain. Let me give a simple example. Whenever we are suffering, we always use the word I am like this happened to me, my something is lost, and so on. Now I try to rephrase this. For example, let's say someone says something nasty to you, you say, this morning there is this very painful statement, very negative statement. Right? You can say someone said something bad, or I heard someone say something bad. So don't say this person insulted me. Because insulted is already a loaded word, you know. That means you already say, I don't like this guy. So all that happened was, I heard this negative remark. Okay, so this is something neutral, and then you're examining what really happened. Something like that. Okay, we don't own the pain. Right?
How would you do that to physical pain? How would you apply that to pain?
Physical pain is
so that you rise, so that it doesn't bother you so much.
Yeah, you see, physical pain in a sense is easier to deal with than mental pain, because physical pain lasts for a certain time.
Yes.
Either it ends with death or somehow it will go away.
Yes.
Or you can just, shut down and faint. So, again, physical, yes. Again, physical pain is impermanent, so you reflect it as it is. It comes, it goes, and then you solve it off caustic medicine. Right? So, if you do not have medicine, you reflect on it, you see a rise and fall of nature of pain. So this is not something the Buddha said you can help this yourself. I don't believe in that. But in the case of the ordinary worldly person, they suffer two kinds of pain: bodily pain, mental pain. But if you are wise, the mental aspect is not trouble. You say, okay, this is the pain of the body. Let me let go of the mental reaction. Let me attend to it. And in Buddhism, we have, for example, a tradition of medicine, how to heal ourselves and so on. Okay, so we understand the two kinds of consciousnesses. Right. So now, section 7, page 21. So when we talk of consciousness, it doesn't exist by itself. We're always conscious of something. For example, the eye is conscious of light and shapes. Ear is conscious of sounds and vibrations. Smell, conscious of smell, and so on. Right? So that consciousness doesn't exist by itself. If you say consciousness exists by itself, you are effectively saying that it is there's unchanging self, like the Brahman of the Brahmins, the Brahmanical system. This is section 7. Any questions? Fair enough, right?
Is it fair to say that each consciousness is independent or never interact?
Yes, there is a sutta for that. Thank you for raising that. In early Buddhism, according to suttas, synesthesia is not possible. Let me write the word. Okay, sign means together, right? And then this is the Buddhist spelling. Anesthesia meaning feeling. Of course, if you translate synesthesia literally, it means mixed feelings. That's not what it means actually. In other words, synesthesia means cross feelings actually. In other words, there are some people who claim that when they hear certain sounds, colors appear to them. Or when they see something and then their mind can create music or something. So there's a crossing of senses. So according to Buddhism, this cannot happen through the sense organ themselves. Only light will hit your eye, your retina, and then you see shapes and colors. That's all. Sound waves will hit your ear and you get sound. That's all. But synesthesia is still possible according to early Buddhism, but not on the level of the physical sense organ. It happens on a mental level. Synesthesia happens on a mental level. Okay? That makes sense.
That's quite remarkable that this
Statement was made.
was understood 2,500 years ago, because this happens to people with, for lack of proper word, special needs, like altruistic, autistic, kids, or this sort of things happen to them. So it's remarkable that this was understood 2,500 years ago.
Through meditation. Through deep meditation. And not just meditation, but there's wisdom with this meditation. That is why it's sort of amazing with this early Buddhist teachings.
Yeah, which only now is being understood and discovered
by us at least.
by medical science.
Oh, of course, yes. Yeah, the next thing that we copyright language for themselves.
Yeah, right.
Okay, then we got to go to the study. Alright, so you can see on page 22 again all these different definitions of the senses. They are defined according to the various sense organs, so they are taken as faculties. Ear consciousness, or you can say visual consciousness, consciousness of seeing, and so on. Okay? So notice the analogy, the bottom, fire simile, or fire parable. Just as fire is reckoned by the particular conditions dependent upon which it burns. For example, you've got wood fire, wood chips, fire from grass, fire from cow dung, which is dry, we use as fuel. Fire from chaff, chaff is the paddy house and so on. And then rubbish used for burning. And so the name of the fire comes from the kind of fuel that is used. So too, our sense experience is named after the sense base. Okay. Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, and mind consciousness. So different kinds of experiences. And then I talked about the nature of the conscious body in section 7.2. There are all the senses of faculty. Okay. Then the next point is about consciousness and life itself. So our consciousness is also defined as our life. This is 7.3. When we talk about life principle and so on, so this very being aware is the same thing as a life faculty. So when we pass away, these faculties are also gone. Right? So how is life defined in Buddhism? Again, at the bottom of page 24, this is the Mahavedala Sutta. There's a dialogue between Mahapatita and Sariputta. So Sariputta is the one explaining the questions asked by Mahapatita. So look at the middle line. Also, when this body loses three states or three things, vitality, heat, and consciousness, it is then discarded, cast aside, lying like a lifeless log. You got that? So three things define life: vitality, heat, consciousness. Now you may say these words, so what do they mean? Alright, let's take someone lying there, flat on the ground, no breath, no heartbeat. What else? No brain activity. So it's clinically dead. The doctor will say this person is dead. But then he wakes up after some time. These are known cases, like the famous story in Italy. I've lost that nice cupping I should have kept it more properly. Many years when I was a young student, They said in Italy this person died, college and died. So they put him in a coffin and then start crying, and that's very emotional. And they kept the body there. And there was some rustling in the coffin. And then they opened it up, and this man was alive. And then he looked around, he sees his wife and all his relatives in mourning clothes. He got shocked, so what are you all doing? And he got so shocked, he collapsed and died. The man who died twice. The man who died twice. It's a real report, you know. Yeah. And it's really tragic. So there you are, they didn't. So this man, look at these three terms: vitality, heat, consciousness. So even though heat is missing, no body heat, vitality here refers to heartbeat, blood pressure, brain activity, all the measurable aspects. Yeah? Again, nothing there. But how do you measure consciousness? There's no way of measuring consciousness. Consciousness still there. Or maybe the consciousness has left the body, if you like, when it could come back, maybe. Right? So these are things which have to be aware of. So, well, science is coming nearer and nearer to measuring all these things. But whether they can really come to the point of measuring consciousness is another big issue. We don't know yet. So it's good to just think about this.
Late last year, there was an Indian lady who died for 3 days and came back.
Oh, great.
She wrote a book, and the book was published in February this year. And there's a very nice interview of her experience. She was very, very sick with cancer. And the doctors gave up hope, and she literally died.
According to clinical science.
Yeah. And then, but her consciousness, the West would say the soul, the consciousness went up. And then she saw herself, the body on the bed. And then she went through various experiences. And then after 2 or 3 days, she woke up. And after 1 month, the cancer all disappeared.
That is
And then
amazing.
she was, during the 2-3 days, she could tell the doctor what he did to my body. When she was out there. But very interesting, the Filipino lady who interviewed her asked her, "Did you see God?" And she sidestepped the question. She said, "I saw loving kindness," or something like that. Love, big love, or something like that. Very interesting, I think.
Yeah, usually there's some kind of happy feeling. Of course, if you have been conditioned with the idea of God says, yeah, you see God, or you interpret what you see as God. And some even claim they meet their own relatives. You know? Yeah, there is a scientist now.
But this lady was a Hindu, so,
Yeah.
so she didn't.
Yes.
She didn't.
Scientists tend to say that many of us tend to respond to such experiences culturally also. So, but of course the idea that you can come back, even though you declare clinically dead, is interesting and it needs to be examined. So this is the frontiers of knowledge, where studying Buddhism, and I think that's why we respect that they keep them for a while to make sure they're really dead. Because if you bury them straight away, like started with wake up down there. Cremation is not so bad. After that, you got no more body to return to and just move around for a new one.
Danger in Singapore practice is that you get embalmed very quickly.
Yeah.
So this should answer your question whether consciousness exists without the brain.
Yes.
Because this has happened so many times and it's been reported.
Yeah.
And in fact, Suzanne, one of the lawyers, same thing. You read about it in the papers. Same thing. So
But if you embalm the body, can the consciousness come back?
No, it can't.
cannot. I mean,
The body is already
the vehicle's gone.
You don't have to embalm the body. It's keep it clean.
Yeah, but practice in Singapore is, you should be embalmed within
I mean, is it
within the
months or
day.
so?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I don't want to be embalmed.
That is why we have the wake. Except that these days
Yeah.
the wake is useless because it's already embalmed.
No, yeah, I mean, so it's better, you don't have to embalm. So if you get a list of 10 years, it'd be good, most of the translate. Anyway, just
Put a bell in the coffin.
make sure you're, yes, someone tried to do that, there are some alarm system. I don't know, that's another story.
Yeah, I know. True, in the old days they put a bell in the
No,
coffin.
they don't. I mean, I saw one story where this person invented a kind of coffee and all this alarm system in the same case, in case it was very unlike. Alright. Okay, so coming back to the lesson here, so you find this consciousness always, it's a process of being aware of something, so you should not take it as it is by all by itself. take for example, the Madhupindika Sutta is a very famous statement here, page 25, where Mahakachanana says, friends dependent on the I and form, I consciousness arises. Notice, right? They are interconnected. And then there is a kind of dependent arising. The meeting of the three is contact, phassa. With contact as condition, there is feeling. What one feels, one perceives. That should be has, one perceives. Let me just correct this if I forget. We are having a lot of people doing proofreading for us, and they're very happy. The top suttas can be so happy.
What one feels.
Yeah, everything is put an S there. It must have been very sleepy. Make all this mistake. These are computer-related mistakes because we tend to cut and paste, and then we assume this is right. It's a human laziness to over-reliance on machine. It's my fault, not Sutta or anyone else. All right. So what one feels, one perceives. What one perceives, one thinks about. What one thinks about, one mentally proliferates. Explosion. So this is a very interesting description of how we worry, we have fear, anxiety, and so on. So once you use this pattern to explain to people how they feel, they begin to understand better, and it helps them at least in some way to deal with their problems. Now look at 814, section 814. Phassa is contact. Phassa, contact, a sense stimulus. The sensory event gives rise to Vedana. Okay? Here meaning, contact that refers to, for example, the eye. You see something, and attention is there, so there is what's called eye contact. Eye contact means visual impression, visual experience. In simple words, seeing. So once you have that, then feeling arises. Gives rise to Vedana, not simply because of contact between sense and object. Only when vijnana is present. Here vijnana means attention. When vijnana is present, does phassa give rise to feeling, which is then identified by sanya or perception. This is then regarded as painful, pleasant, or unnoticed as neither is felt, which when sustained leads to vitakka. Vitakka means thinking, discursive thought. And then thinking leads to papancha. Papancha means thought explosion, mental proliferation. Vijnana enables us to be aware of all these various stages of consciousness. So here, we want to prevent thinking, especially thought explosion. Don't think about the negative situation in others. So this is very wonderful Buddhist therapy, how to prevent the mind from being troubled and confused. Now then, there's a difference between sanya and vijnana. Just checking. Okay. Look at Kajaniya Sutta 821. This is a very interesting passage. You do pay close attention to this, and we won't look at this explanation outside. And what bhikshus is called perception, sanya. It perceives bhikshus, therefore it is called perception. Sanjana titi ho bhikkhave tasma sanyati vijjati. And what does it perceive? It perceives blue, it perceives yellow, it perceives red, it perceives white. It perceives bhikshus, therefore it is called perception. Now you may think this is not very helpful, okay? But I will show you why it is helpful in a moment. Compare this with verse 9. And what bhikshu is called consciousness, vijnana. It cognizes bhikshus, therefore it is called consciousness. Cognizes vijanati. Now you can see the Pali word vijanati. And what does it cognize? Okay, here comes the key phrase. It cognizes sour, it cognizes bitter, it cognizes spicy hot, it cognizes sweet, it cognizes sharp taste of this. It cognizes mild, that is not sharp. It cognizes salty, it cognizes bland. Not salty. It cognizes bhikshus, therefore it is called consciousness. So you see here, the Buddha is using very simple language to show the difference between perception and consciousness. Perception here is used by the Buddha, or explained by the Buddha as perceiving blue, yellow, red. These are colors, right? That means perception here, the Buddha is talking about mainly a visual experience, right? And then when it's consciousness, the Buddha uses the taste experience. Why does he use these two different experiences? Look at them, 822. We see here that the explanation of vijnana is very similar to that of sanya, difference in only the type of sense of that they recognize. Further down, perception is analyzed by way of the eye door, in other words, visual experience, because it is evident in apprehending or experiencing, if you like, the appearance, akara, and shape, santana, of the object. Akara and santana. Akara can also translate as something like activity, okay? Aspects, if you like. And then santana can also translate as form, if you like. Okay? So, in other words, when we talk about perception, it's more like what we see with the mind or with the eye. You hear something, what do you see in your head? Okay? It's just like dreams. When you dream, which of your senses work the most? Then usually it's only one sense. What is that when you dream? Which of the five senses really is operating? Which one? Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. Which one is active when you dream? No, I mean the mind is the stage of the dream, but which of the five physical senses is the most active? When you dream?
Eye.
Yes. When you dream, you see things. Yeah, the eye, you see things, right? When you dream.
And ear.
Do you hear things when you dream? It is possible, yeah, but normally when you dream, you mostly see things.
Yes.
Right? Maybe you think you hear things, but the main activity is seeing.
People talking in you.
Talking is different. Talking is
No, I mean the three people talking.
yeah. Or talking to you. Do you hear that?
I think I hear.
So you say, I think I hear. You're not sure. You see? Yeah, because the thinking is not the voice that I now. See? It's a thought. It's your thought that they say.
Right, point taken.
So it's either mental or visual. That's why here you find the visual aspect is used in perception, because your dream is also perception. Right? So whereas in the consciousness, there is something more subtle. So that's the next part. Right? Consciousness, continue reading. Consciousness, on the other hand, is analyzed by way of the tongue door because it apprehends an object's distinct qualities. Pachatta means distinct. Veda is something like distinction, picking up things, even when there is neither appearance nor shape. So consciousness level is more subtle. More subtle. And they don't have any physical aspects. Whereas perception tends to more visual. Right?
How about hearing? Is it perception or consciousness?
For here, the Buddha is trying to help us understand the difference. But all your sense experiences, there is perception involved. We tend to, whatever we experience, there's always this visual aspect of it for us to remember it. I don't know how a person does that, but there must be some kind of idea that we see. So this is the, anyway, this is how the two experiences are distinguished. It's fun.
I noticed
Yeah.
that voice is not one of the things mentioned in any of these things. The voice,
What?
speaking.
Speaking.
So you got sight, you got hearing, you got whatever, but there's nothing said about voice.
So you mean in this study, is it?
I mean, when we talk about senses,
Oh,
so voice is
Yeah.
one, I don't know how you call it, but
it's a separate activity in terms of communication. It is separately dealt with.
but sometimes in the dreams, when you're sleeping, you talk.
Yeah.
So it's a conscious, subconscious
No, it's not a conscious activity.
making the voice.
Yeah, it's not conscious. It's like a replay. So that the mind activates the physical
okay, so
thing, but
trigger the
but we're not conscious of it. But of course, someone else is conscious of it. Right? So in that sense, in that case, the Vinaya rule is not broken. Because there was a monk in a dream scolds the teacher, so he's not liable because he's not aware of it. It's just maybe the teacher will ask, you better examine what thoughts are we having. So the thoughts are loving kindness, for example. But he is not liable to have broken any rules. Okay, now we're nearly finished. So page 28. So what does consciousness fit in this training? So here we have Panya, wisdom. And you can see the Eightfold Path, the Threefold Training. You can see that the Threefold Training, we train our body and speech first to moral training. And then we use that calm body, calm mind to practice mental training, meditation. And as a result, wisdom arises. But in the Eightfold Path, we find wisdom is good first, because wisdom underlies all the Eightfold factors. Without wisdom, without right view, the other factors will not be Arya, will not be noble afterwards. So this, the right view, your consciousness, you have to be aware of what's going on, mindfulness. And if you are very properly conscious and wise in dealing with your conscious activities, wisdom arises. You can see the word Panya. Okay? So this is a bit of a summary of what is stated here. You can read the details in the book here. So, to be conscious means to direct your attention in the right direction. So this is, wisdom arises in that way, in three ways. Section 8.3.4. Three kinds of wisdom, Panya. Wisdom through thinking, Cintamaya Panya. Wisdom through listening, Suttamaya Panya. Wisdom through cultivation. These are three ways of learning methods. First way is thinking. Sometimes some teachers put listening first. Because even though we might not listen to people, we have thoughts in our minds. And young people, we think about this, we think about that. So our first ideas are through our way of thinking. And then we listen to people, to parents, to teachers, and then our ideas change. So there's a second level of learning. But the most important level of learning is through our own meditation. In fact, in my life, meditation I did really changed a lot of my views of Buddhism and life, etc. So if you look more broadly in modern terms, you can say that, let's begin with listening, number two. Like now, you're listening to me, and this is third-hand knowledge. You can call it academic knowledge right now. It's useful, but you can't stop here, you know. Then you think about it, you go back and think about it. That is again, second-hand knowledge. Because if you have to think about it, it's not the real thing yet, because you're using language. Then you meditate. I have experience of reality. You see impermanence directly, you see joy directly. That's your true first-hand experience. So this is something worth recording, 3 levels of wisdom. So if you cultivate through your meditation, you begin to see things more clearly out there. You begin by seeing how you see things. It's just like examining your telescope, microscope, understanding how these instruments work, then you apply them, then they really work. So this is where in the last part here, near the last part, 836, 837, these scholars are saying, when people begin to misunderstand vijnana, then they think there is a soul. Vijnana, consciousness, is always conscious of something. It is not, it doesn't exist in itself. If it does, then you can end up living in some kind of unchanging self. Then section 9, page 31, section 9. This is another problem here. Consciousness is what gives us a sense of continuity. Like you are listening to me now, and as I speak, you understand language and you see continuity. What I say, the ideas are connected, you know. And there seems to be a nice, complete story. But the reality, according to early Buddhism, is all these ideas come in there are 2 ways. One is in particles of thoughts, you know. The other one is a wave, so just like quantum theory. So thoughts can come by way of waves or particles. So they're all discrete thought moments, very fast. They are so fast and they're so close to each other, they're like grains of sand. So you go to the seaside, you see the beach, it seems to be smooth and coherent, cohesive. I mean, kind of like one smooth beach. But if you look down very closely, you find the sand are all loose. And you look more closely with a microscope, you actually see the grains, the particles of sand, they are not touching each other actually. So our thoughts are also like that. One come after the other. Remember the fruit diagram, right? So just to tell you what page is it, so you can look it up yourself. It's on page 11, right? The figure 4, the fruit salad diagram. Those are all top moments on page 11. So they run very fast together. They seem to be as if connected, but they are not. They're changing all the time. They give a sense of continuity. So when we see this, when we feel the sense of continuity, we think that, oh yeah, we are one and the same person. There is this thing called self, soul. But everything is changing all the time. Even when we sleep, when consciousness seems to have stopped, we're not conscious. There is this existential consciousness going on underlying our sleep. But when you are dreaming, your mind is active. The mind plays back all those 5 tapes. What you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, they all shut down, but the mind plays it. So they're not really seeing, but it's a mental experience. So we tend to see these experiences. So, and all these ideas are very helpful in the sense that you can use them for meditation. Now, section 9.922, 93 are important. I want to cover today. I'll do the next time because these are healing techniques, so I won't go into details. I'll just finish off with a bit of about dreams. So, why do we dream? Here, if you look at page 34, the Buddha Gosha in the Vivanga commentary gives 4 reasons for the occurrences of dreams. Number 1, disturbance in the elements. That is through an imbalance of the humans, internal elements of earth, water, fire, wind. It's good, resulting in our dreams of falling from down a mountain, moving through space, being chased by wild beasts, and so on. So this depends on what element. It's not that. So there's too much of an element where you feel a bit moving, If you eat too much, you feel heavy, then you feel like, oh, you're pinned under a rock, and so on. So this one possible explanation is the imbalance of the 4 elements. Number 2, past experiences. This is very common, right? We tend to recall things we have experienced before. I would include here also wishes that you have. For example, in my dreams, most of my dreams, last few years in Singapore, they often located in temples, monasteries, there'll be monks there, and sometimes I don't see myself, you usually don't see yourself in a dream. You notice that? You ever see yourself in a dream? You're just aware, but you don't see yourself. Right? It's like you're this invisible eye, but you don't see yourself. But I can sense that I was still wearing a robe, and I was kind of helping the monks and doing things. So these are past experiences coming back. They dreams again. Number 3 is divine intervention. I think it's a bit controversial. I don't think Mother Science will accept this, but you can interpret this. Devas, probably past relatives, wishing you to be well, and maybe warning you about coming illness or various moments, things like that. Maybe they're psychic. Of course, as I said, this is a cultural thing. You don't have to accept this and find difficulty with this. Maybe someone telling you something or behaving in a certain way, and then you have dreams about it. It's not possible explanation. Number 4 is a potent, Upanimita. It is something telling you what will happen, maybe the kind of job you're going to get, or ideas you like, it's going to happen. You've been thinking about it, so obviously you will dream about it. If you do a lot of happy actions, then these dreams will come. In the suttas, you have stories about the dream of the Bodhisattva's mother before she conceived. Remember, Mama Maya dreamt about the elephant coming and entering the right side. This is a very common motherhood dream. Okay? And I think Freudian, by the way, Freud always misinterprets this. And then the Bodhisattva himself had very beautiful dreams. How many dreams? 5 dreams, right? And then the 5 great dreams of the Bodhisattva. And King Pasenadi also had 16 dreams and so on. So these are then the Buddha will tell the story. So dream interpretation is already quite popular in the Buddha's time.
But they say below the paragraph only the arhats see dreams.
Yes.
And yet,
No, arhats are not dream. But here, King Pasenadi was not an arhat. Here, the Buddha didn't mention any dreams.
how about the Bodhisattva's 5 breakthroughs? Who's
Yeah.
Bodhisattva?
Bodhisattva before the Buddha was enlightened. Okay? As the Buddha, there's no mention of dreams. So dreams, according to Buddhist psychology, dreams only occur, if dreams are occurring, then they are not really sleep. There is mental activity. So these are technical terms you can read in the check. So that covers today's syllabus. Any questions? So, what do you think?
So, the question of the memory,
Memory.
something in the mind, memory.
Okay, memory is called sati, it's consciousness, it's not located anywhere. It is the ability to connect things together.
I mean, if you got memory with your functions,
True. Just consciousness.
so it's actually part of the consciousness.
The fact that we are conscious means we can also remember things. Even animals can remember. They have the mind. And in the case of human being, we have reflexive consciousness. We are aware that we are aware. For example, when you do breath meditation, you can watch the physical sensation, or you can watch, you know that you are breathing, and you watch the knowledge, and you pay attention. And now we are discussing the fact of that you're aware that you're aware. We are aware of this fact. In other words, we are aware of the fact that we are aware that we are aware. I mean, Indian philosophy, very three levels.
Just now you said something about consciousness of not
Memory.
No, the earlier question you asked about consciousness being separate. What was that?
Because like I said, because they have this concept of the cosmic consciousness. So they say all the consciousness will actually merge into the cosmic consciousness. So
Return to the
yeah, so I mean if we push into the so-called cosmic consciousness. So what do we know?
Oh no, I don't think that. There was another question about consciousness being independent of each other.
Yeah.
And that was why we came up with this.
interdependent.
Independent.
Interdependent.
Oh, consciousness being independent or interdependent?
Actually, my question is the consciousness become is actually independent.
Okay. But as you know from this study, consciousness is interdependent, dependent on other aspects.
Okay.
So let me close with what is that? We were talking about the last point just now. You were asking.
So-called the cosmic.
After that, something. What's the last question? Memory.
Memory, yeah.
So memory is very important in Buddhism. It's called mindfulness, called sati, and so on. We are conscious. So the idea is we need to understand the nature of consciousness, because consciousness is our ability to pay attention. Unlike animals, we can sustain our attention and learn something from it. I have this wonderful cat at home, it's called Kiki. We have a double bun, so every night she will go out there at the right time, they all follow our routine of sleeping. So they both will go up to the top of the bed, but this Kiki, the female cat, was the only one sitting at the edge of the bed, looking down, gazing at me all the time as I sleep. I think I want to make sure that I'm not dead, so I can think I suppose. But it's so wonderful to see this cute little cat looking at you as you sleep. You know? She's the only one. She will be gazing at her. But that's all she does. No other knowledge. She said, hello, I said, there's no communication. You know? Of course, I don't know what she's thinking. My point is, in the human mind, when you gaze at something, you can also study and learn from it, and you get a deeper sense of bliss. Of course, whether this cat is bliss or not, you might not. But in human mind, you can train yourself, and that's how you get out of the world. So the solution to the problem lies in the problem itself, understanding the nature of consciousness. This is a wonderful teaching. So we have not to end for today. Continue on this interesting discussion. 2 weeks time. So let us do a short reflection. Once again today, the reflecting on the nature of something very key the Buddha has taught us, the nature of consciousness, which is something so difficult to understand, which no other religion or system provide, just the way Buddha has done. The teaching here is self-understanding. We are thinking beings, feeling beings, and consciousness is behind everything in this kind of experience. Reflecting in this way, we see impermanence. And all these are very wholesome reflection, very good karma. With the power of such good karma, may our minds really focus as we meditate, maybe be happy in this life itself. Above all, maybe attain spiritual awakening at least strengthening in this life itself. In this moment of peace, maybe send our loving kindness. All those people who talk to us, our parents and relatives, and all those people who know, all those people walking here, may they be well, may they be happy, may they be safe. To all those people who have still not heard the Dharma, benefited from it, may the Dharma touch them, may they be well, may they be happy too. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so see you next time.